Well guys, I hate starting videos like this, but unfortunately, we have more bad news. Now, if you guys watched last video, you know that we got the engine out of my JZX90, we pulled the 1J engine, and we actually tore the entire thing apart, looking at the rods, looking at the bearings, looking at the crank, literally checked everything on the bottom end of this engine. But something that we didn't pay too much attention to was the head. Unfortunately, after we stopped last video, we started looking at the head just a little more, and we ended up finding a bunch of bearing material inside the head, which means this entire thing needs to come apart, and this needs to go back to the machine shop. This needs to be properly cleaned and gone through, and we're unsure right now, but we might have to get lifters as well. Currently, we're unsure, but it's my job right now to take the head completely apart. I'd be lying to you guys if I said I was happy about this situation. We literally just built this head. Kelford Cams, they actually sent us out a set of their cams. We sent it to the machine shop, got everything properly shimmed, properly built, properly put together, and it's time that we have to take the entire thing apart again and kind of redo it. Looking over the cams and everything, fortunately enough, the cams are still good, but as far as the head goes, everything needs to come apart so it can actually get properly hot tanked and gone through and things like that. So with that being said, we're taking the turbo off, we're taking the manifold off, we're taking the intake off, and we're getting this thing down to a bare head once again.
So today, I didn't want to waste any time, so we got right to work taking this turbo off. Now, it looks pretty easy, you know? You can see the 3 bolts there. Everything's going good. I'm using the wrench, using my fingers. Everything is good in the neighborhood. But there is one freaking bolt that is a nightmare. But speaking of turbos, I wanted to share some love with my boys over at work, Turbochargers. They were kindly enough to sponsor this channel with this beautiful G25 Garrett for the Sunny build that we are doing. You can see that they coated the outside, and they even put the heat rejection coating on the inside and in the core. They changed the turbine wheel. They did a bunch of stuff to this turbo to make it something special. And of course, we can't forget Cousin Matt's Borg Warner S400 SX T6 turbine housing. This thing is an absolute animal, dude. I can't wait to see what Cousin Matt's truck does on the dyno because it is going to be absurd. If you guys are in the market for any turbos, wastegates, blow-off valves, you name it, Work Turbochargers has it. You can use code JUNK to save 20% off all TurboSmart products, including turbochargers. Now, if you want anything else, all you got to do is you got to hit up their contact page, tell them I sent you and exactly what you're looking for, and Reed is going to do the best he can to help you. He's super knowledgeable, his team is great, and I highly recommend if you guys need any sort of turbos, wastegates, or blow-off valves, definitely give their website a look. Reach out to Reed personally, and he's going to lead you in the right direction. He's a great dude. But getting back to working on the head, you can see that I pretty much have all of these bolts out right now, but let's speed it up a little bit. Let me show you why this thing sucks. So you can see right here, I'm trying to get the last bolt, and now I'm trying to move the turbo. I'm doing a bunch of stuff to try to just get it, but there's just no room. So I have to end up actually taking the compressor housing off of the turbo completely just to get to this bolt. And now it's not too bad. You know, it's a couple 13 mils, not too big of a deal. I had to take the oil line off to actually get access and the coolant line so all the bolts can back out. But with enough wrench turning, we were able to get this thing off pretty freaking easy. Now it's time for the fun part. Getting a wrench in there, it was okay with the compressor housing being off. It still wasn't fun. The hardest part of this bolt is it gets stuck on the rear housing. So you have to kind of pick up the turbo as you're loosening this bolt. And this turbo weighs like fucking 20 pounds. So it's not like it's something light when you're just holding it. But, you know, with enough wiggles, we got it off. Now it's time to take the RTEC manifold off. Ben over at RTEC, he knows his stuff because this thing is so freaking awesome. Little bit tricky to get off, at least for the bottom bolts. You know, I had to use like a 14 mil wrench, and I had to do like an 1/8 of a turn on all of them. But honestly, for the performance this thing gives out, it is so freaking worth it. I have nothing bad to say about this manifold. But with that, we took it off, and then it was time to get the intake manifold off. This was probably the easiest part of it, considering it was just probably like 6 to 10, I don't know, probably 6 to 8 manifold bolts. We were able to get those out pretty quickly, and with that, we did a quick rip and tear. We got the intake manifold off, and then we got the center where the fuel rail bolts up and everything like that. So all we had to do was get the head off the table because it was kind of sketchy a couple times, and I didn't like it, and yeah, we were ready to go to the machine shop.
So now that I just got the head all apart, it's time to clean this mess. Behind me is an absolute disaster. And if you guys watched 2 videos ago, you know that I just completely cleaned the entire shop top to bottom, and it was gorgeous. Now, as you can see behind me, this place is an absolute tornado. So time to clean up. All right, guys, so as you can see, the shop is now a bit cleaner. We've been mopping the floors and everything, and we categorized all of the parts. These are all the parts that actually need to be properly washed. There's a lot of things that have metal shavings and things like that, and overall, some of them are just dirty. So this is the dirty bin. Right here, we have the rest of the JZX parts, all categorized already in this bin, all bagged with hardware, labeled. Everything is ready to go for when we want to get this thing back together. But I'll be honest, I'm a little torn on exactly what I want to do right now. There is a bit more damage with like kind of the head having metal shavings in it and all of that stuff. So we're actually going to take a trip to Dave's machine shop right now, and we're going to see exactly what we need to do to get this thing running. My initial plan was to use the Built 2J, but with the time and everything, I don't really know exactly what we're doing yet. And with potentially having to send out the turbo to a company, obviously that is going to take some time. So I'm even thinking about maybe sending out my harness to Wiring Specialties and getting a harness made once and for all. Now, I wanted to do that in the beginning when I built the JZX90, but the time frame just didn't line up with when I wanted to get the car done. But now that it's down again, we have a decision to make. Do we want to get this thing together ASAP and use the stock harness, or do we want to wait a little bit and do the Wiring Specialties harness? I'm gonna make a decision probably over this video, but first I wanna talk to Dave at the machine shop and see what he has to say. So let's take a ride to Dave's shop.
So with no time to waste, I hopped in Dan's truck. We had the cams, we had the crank, and we also had the head in the back of the bed. So as soon as we got to Dave's shop, he instantly started looking at the head, and this is where I learned a lot. Here, he was actually showing us where the main feed was for our cams and kind of explaining why we can actually just get away with cleaning this head and things like that. So let me show you.
Me and Dan, we were originally really nervous that we were gonna have to change out the lifters, but considering these aren't hydraulic lifters and they're pretty much just buckets with shims on top of them, we can actually just clean out all of these buckets. We can clean out the entire head with brake clean, and he assured us that everything is gonna be fine and we don't have really anything to worry about. Yes, it's probably gonna take 10 cans of brake clean to assure there's no bearing material in it or anything, but that's a small price to pay considering everything that happened. He also showed us the main oil passage, which is right here. So this is actually how you get oil pressure to your head through this little hole. I don't even know if you can see it right now. Let me look at the lens. Yeah, this little hole right here is how you get oil to the top of the head. So pretty much your oil pump, it builds up pressure, and then that pressure goes through that little hole, and then it actually goes through the back of the head right here, through this hole and this hole right here. If we use this air gun here and we put it there, you might be able to see, maybe, but there's actually pressure going through that hole and that hole right here, and that is the back of the head. So if you look at the Kelford cam, there's holes through every single groove where your cam caps actually go. So if we start here, there's a hole there, hole there, hole there, and so on and so forth through the camshaft. So if we take air once again, we'll put air straight through this, and then it actually pushes oil throughout the entirety of the cam. So pretty much, you get your oil pressure through here, they come through here, and then the camshaft actually takes oil in and then delivers it throughout the whole cam to actually continue oil pressure, so there's never metal to metal contact. It's actually pretty crazy on how simple that is, but it is awesome. So pretty much what we have to do is we have to run brake clean throughout the entirety of the head, run a bunch through there, ensuring there's no bearing material, running it through the Kelford cam and all of that, just once again to ensure there's no bearing material. But Dave said no need to worry about the lifters or anything like that. Once again, they're not hydraulic, so we can just kind of clean these all out. Of course, I need to ensure that we label all of these buckets and they go back correctly, because he shimmed actually all of these shims on the top for the Kelford cams and everything, so it's important that we put that back together. But Now that Dave taught us about the head, it was time to talk about
the crank. Now, we wanted to bring everything to Dave because we have a couple options here. We can either build a 1.5J and we can take my 2J apart, even though that was for my E36 comp car, or we can actually save this 1J and use it once again. So we're just trying to weigh out our options. Dave busted out this fancy measuring tool. I think it's a micrometer. I don't even really know what it's called, but unfortunately, we can't just polish this crank because it was a bit damaged. But he did say that we can send it out. We can get the crank ground down a bit and just get different bearings. So we actually went to the book. We figured out the bearings that we needed, and we are on the right track to actually getting this engine back together, which I'm really excited about. I've personally never rebuilt an engine like this, and I think it's going to be a really cool experience, and I'm really excited to bring you guys along for the ride. Here I am pretending to know exactly what I'm doing, looking like an absolute goober, but yeah, these glasses are actually pretty cool. Dave was also checking out the rod just to make sure that the rod was good, and actually the rod is good. I think we're gonna put some new piston rings in this. We're gonna do everything correctly with Dave's guidance, and I think we're gonna put together this 1J once and for all. Now, before we left Dave's shop, I wanted to kind of give you guys a little sneak peek on exactly what we're doing with Cousin Matt's truck. Now, we said we wanted to make 1,000 horsepower, and I don't know if anyone is taking us seriously, but we've had this engine at Dave's machine shop, and we are actually ready to fully put this thing together. We have a bunch of amazing companies on board with this project, and we're going to be going down there next week, fully assembling this. But besides that, it was time to grab the head, say goodbye to Dave, and get back to the shop because we had a lot of work to do.
All right. It is officially the next day, and I've had so much information throughout the last 24 hours, it's not even funny. So I'm going to try to just catch you up to speed as best as I can here. Now, as many as you know, the JZX90 is one of my favorite cars, and I just love driving it, whether it's on the street, whether it's drifting, whether it's using it as a taxi and bringing you guys along for ride-alongs during clean culture. I just love driving it. Like, it made me like re-fall in love with cars. I think I've explained that in a different video, but when it blew up, my only goal was to try to get that car done as soon as possible because it just bums me out. Like, I have a lot of projects going on. We have the Blueberry, we have the 2J E36, we have the LS car on the lift, and now, unfortunately, we have the JZX as well. So I was trying to do this as fast as possible and as budget friendly as possible. So that's what led me to doing the 1.5J because we already had the fully built engine. Everything was going to work out. We have the head gasket. We have everything that we need to actually put a 1JZ head onto this bottom end. Now, really, the big point on why people do 1.5Js is because it's kind of your budget-friendly way of getting away with not having to get a new intake manifold, not having to get a new turbo manifold, and so on and so forth like that. And since I already had the 1J head and I had all of this stuff and it was literally just going to be place the head on and go, that was my plan. Now, that sounds cool and all, but at the same time, I wasn't really planning on making any more horsepower because my transmission was gonna kind of be the weak link at that point. The R154, they're good to about 600 horsepower. 600 horsepower, you're kind of pushing it and you're kind of on borrowed time anyways. But after speaking with Dan and after speaking with Dave at the machine shop and seeing that the block, seeing that the crank and the pistons, they're all reusable, I think it would be kind of silly to take the engine for this car solely because if we take the engine for this car, we're gonna have to build another one, and obviously that costs a lot of money. We've been talking back and forth with Dave, kind of just getting prices on how much it was gonna be to rebuild the 1J, and honestly, it's really not that bad. And instead of just having that block just kind of sit and collect dust and maybe one day we're gonna use it again, I think it's really cool that we can actually have the opportunity to bring it back to life and just to use it again. And instead this time we'll get better rod bolts from ARP. We've already contacted them and they're sending those to us as we speak. And obviously we're gonna get good bearings and we're gonna get new piston rings and things like that. Overall, the goal with the JZX was never to make 1,000,000 horsepower. It's really fun around 510 horsepower. So I think we're just gonna maintain that. So there's not really a huge reason to put the built 2J bottom end into the car. So with all that being said, in the middle of this video, I told you guys that I was thinking about sending my harness out to Running Specialties. Now, I called them today. They have about an 8-week lead time, which I'm kind of okay with because one, we have to send the crank out to get it ground down. I believe that's what they're doing. That takes about 3 weeks. So if we actually order the harness today, it will be on track to getting built, and we can actually have a brand new harness in this car. We'll have the rebuilt 1J for this car, and everything will go smoothly. So considering this thing is gonna be down for a little bit, it's gonna be my job to actually get this bay painted. Now, this car has always been a work in progress for me. It is wrapped green, and I have different plans with this car in the near future. So my job is gonna be to take everything out of the engine bay, get this thing painted, so when we actually reveal what we wanna do with this thing, at least the engine bay will be 100% done. All right, Dan, so I just brought everyone up to speed. What is your personal thoughts on what we're doing?
Best idea ever.
You think it's the best idea?
It really is, because that is real expensive. And we need that for that car.
Yeah.
This car doesn't, it's not going to make any more power. We're going to put that thing in, and then it's going to make 500 horsepower.
Yeah, literally, that's what I was telling them anyways. It's not like we were trying to achieve like 800 horsepower. And if we were, then we need bigger injectors, we need bigger pumps, we need better trans. Like, we need so much stuff in order to make that happen, in order to make the 1.5J. I'm just kind of bummed because I kind of hinted towards it, and now we're changing it. But at the same time, I'm also really excited because I personally have never rebuilt an engine before. And now we're using this thing.
This is going to change your whole life.
This is the is this thing actually going to do anything?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
We're going to give it a little bit of a hone, and we still got to wait for the crank, but...
Yeah, and that's going to take 3 weeks to get grinded. So he's grinding it down.
He's bringing it to a place that only does cranks, and then they're just going to grind it to whatever...
Specifications.
Yeah, I think it's like 10 under.
And then we get what, oversized bearings?
Yeah, so the bearings are bigger, but they're going to do a whole thing, change the clearance of it and all that, so that this thing will actually survive.
That sounds great to me. And then what, now what this thing is what, for cross etching?
Yeah,
a little
lines
X
in there basically, and then I guess that helps seat the
new rings. So can I shove it in there?
Yeah, we need some oil. Where is your oil?
Yeah, okay. Do you like this? Some 1040? High mileage, dude. High mileage.
Yeah.
Have you ever done this before?
Never.
Never?
The first time.
You're lying. I just want to see this thing run again. Like, if this thing actually lasts like 10,000 miles, dude, I'll be stoked.
Oh, it will.
You think so? You're full confident.
Well, we got to go show them the dent under your gas pedal.
I got a heavy foot, dude. I got a heavy foot. I just like that we're recycling this, because if we didn't do this, like, when do you think we'd actually use this? Like, honestly, never.
I don't ever want to do this again.
Oh, shit.
We're gonna do that one. I think that within my next couple of years of not doing this ever again, we'll probably get that one done.
So you're trying to go out with a bang. Dan's retiring in what, 2.5 years now?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, Dan is done. He's retiring.
I'm gonna pay someone to change my oil.
Dan's out of here. 2.5 years. That's when I move away. I'm out too.
That's it.
Okay. All right. This is scary.
Just in there. You wanna do this?
This is it.
Pretty much.
So pretty much you're just trying to scratch up the cylinder walls.
Yeah.
We just got an order from Devin Wars. Big shout out to Devin Wars, dude. Thank you for the junk for less purchase.
Shout out to Devin. What's his name?
Wars.
Shout out to Devin Wars.
They don't call me Dingleberry for nothing.
You feeling like a master?
I'm feeling I'm feeling like a master.
It's okay.
Yeah, I did that because we got to check it, right?
Sometimes they fall out in your first time.
Popping off the dowel pins.
Yep.
So what, you want to just like clean the top?
Yep, I'm gonna clean that up.
With what, like a straight edge cut?
Probably just a razor.
A razor? No, I got the tool for you, buddy. Right. I got the tool for you. Straight off the Snap-on truck, dude.
All right. I saw he was here earlier.
Yeah. Oh, was he here earlier? I've been editing all day. Nice. Look at that.
One down.
One to go. Oh. Hey, look at this thing, though. Boom.
Damn.
Little carbide bit, I think. You know?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna clean this. You ever been high before?
On weed? Not on brake.
Well, we're about to find out today. So we need, oh, dude, you're already fucking me bad.
I just don't want to eat that car.
It stinks, dude.
Okay.
So we just have to make sure that we get everything out of here. We're gonna take every precaution that we can, which means $100 in brake clean.
Yep.
Which is gonna be perfect. So we're just gonna sit here. We're gonna clean the block with brake clean. We already pressure washed it with a hot water diesel pressure washer. And now it's time to actually go through all of the oil holes and just, if there is anything in there, which there very much could be, just make sure we get it all out. All right, guys, so for the rest of the night, we're just gonna be cleaning out this block. I'm definitely excited to do my very first engine build, you know, and it's like, if this was a Miata engine and stuff, it probably wouldn't be as exciting, but considering this is a 1J, considering these are very expensive and they're very kind of hard to come by, I think it's really cool that we're kind of saving this one. So definitely let us know what you think down in the comments. What do you think, Dan?
Junkyard style.
Yeah, this is definitely junkyard style, and I'm loving it.
That's my favorite.
I'm loving every step of the way. So definitely, if you guys like this, subscribe for more, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.